If you live in a cold climate like we do here in Western New York, you're probably already experiencing freezing temperatures. But if you live somewhere milder, then you're probably gonna get some freezing temperatures here soon. So I thought I'd make this video, hopefully give you guys some good advice on how we make sure that our chickens get fresh water throughout the winter, make sure that they're healthy. And we do it two different ways, one with power, one without. So this video should be able to help everyone, and I hope you enjoy. The first one we have here is the one we do with our big girls right here, our standard size girls, our oldest girls, and it's the way we do it with no power. So what we have right here is two rubber bowls right here. They're both a gallon, and it's really important to note that they are rubber. There's a plastic one over there that we use for their treats and stuff, but rubber. And you want to use rubber for a couple different reasons. One, it is super sturdy. So the girls are gonna be in and out with the water, hitting it, messing with it. So you wanna make sure that it's gonna hold up. Two is, as you can see, there's a bunch of ice all around here, because if this thing freezes, you wanna make sure when water expands, that when it freezes, it's not gonna crack the bowl. In a plastic bowl, it's gonna expand and crack it. And then the third reason is for something really similar. If this freezes, you want to be able to slam this on the ground, hit it around, be able to get all the ice out of there. If you start slamming around a plastic bowl that's frozen, you're going to crack it and break it, and you're going to need a new bowl every day. So it's really important and really nice to have these rubber ones, so that if it does freeze, you're able to break it up and dump it out. And on the note of that, one little pro tip I'll say before I show you guys what I do with these is that you want to dump these at night. So come out at night after the girls are asleep and go ahead and dump these bowls. That's what these little ice pieces are around here, is from the nighttime, me dumping it. Because, as I've learned the hard way, if you don't dump it at night and you just come out in the morning, that entire bowl is going to be solid. And if you dump it at night, a little bit's probably going to be frozen from the girls not drinking it at the end of the day and moving it around, so it's going to freeze a little bit faster. But it's a whole lot easier to break up, you know, a little layer of ice versus an entire bowl of ice. It takes a lot more effort, it's harder to break up, and it's just a pain in the neck when you come out in the morning. So for these girls, all I do is I bring out this 5-gallon bucket, and like I said, each one of these is a gallon, so I fill this up about halfway inside. And if you're like me, you don't have a pump outside, so you have to fill it up inside. That's what I do. And the fastest way to do that is in the shower. I've tried the sink, but you know, of course, shower's got the bathtub, I should say, is a lot quicker. And so get that water nice and warm. You don't want to make it hot, you don't want to make it too cold. I get it right in the kind of like a room temperature, maybe a little bit above for these girls. And so yeah, you just fill it up and then come out here and dump it out. And then we just do this every morning. Like I said, dump it out every night, come out every morning, fill this up. Super easy, super simple. Makes them happy. They got nice fresh water and it's full. And now something I really like with the setup that we have, you'll see that these are elevated off the ground, which is nice because then they can't kick a bunch of dirt in here. And the other thing, as you'll see, what I'm just doing right now, if I have any extra water or when I dump these out at night, I just dump them right here into this garden box. You see there's still a little bit of grass trying to grow in here and survive, so it makes sure that I water them a little bit at least every day with that leftover water. So it's super efficient. I don't have to take the bowls far to dump them. It's just flip them over and then they drain right into that box, and then it's being recycled to be used as water for the grass. So super convenient, super nice. These girls really like it, as you can see. They're all super excited. And that is the way we do it with no power. And let me show you guys what we do with power. All right, so this is the one that we do with power. And if you have access to power, it's super convenient. Of course, it's way easier to fill up water once instead of coming out every day. But if you don't have power, that's what you got to do. For the no power, right here, this is a nipple waterer. It's a 3-gallon capacity, which is really nice. And it's made by Premier One, but I actually bought it through Meyer Hatchery because I like to support my hatchery. And I'll put the link down below for it. And if you want to buy it there, you can save $5 off with my special code, which will also be down there for you guys as well. And as you can see, the girls right here, they really like it. This is our bantam group, smaller girls, our youngest girls. And the reason why I do the power here versus out there is because I read some horror stories online about silkies not being able to drink out of the bowls of water because they're not sometimes smart enough to pick up their heads, and then you know how it goes, ends up being catastrophic. Well, our girls, so far, when I've supervised them drinking out of it, they seem to know how to drink out of it, but I will say, all that floof, they stick their entire heads in there, and so if I did give them a regular bowl of water in the winter, they would probably have icicles on their face and get frostbite all the time because they don't know how to drink without sticking their entire heads in there. So, we could go with the nipple waterer, and we have the nipple water for them all time. Same thing with the big girls, but there's no heat to that one, which is why I have to do the bowls. And really like the nipple waterers. They really like it. Make sure that they don't get super wet. But the benefit of this is, one, they don't have frozen heads. And two, it can be heated and then the nipples don't freeze. Because the nipples on that freeze with no heat. And this one, before we attached the heat, it was freezing as well. So, but now that there is heat, we're good to go. So a little bit about this. There is a plug there in the back, and it's actually really cool because it is highly particular how you stick the plug in there to make it work. And if you don't put it in just right, it will not go in, which is really nice and secure, so that the connection is tight and won't fall out. And how it works is there's an internal sensor inside this water that whenever it gets down below a certain temperature, whenever it recognizes that it's freezing, then it starts to heat up the water. And then it keeps it right above freezing so that the nipples never freeze and that the girls can continue to get water all the time. And another nice feature is this easy access fill-up porch right here. So you don't need to take this down. We have it hanging. You don't need to take it down every time and unscrew the lid or anything like that. You can just simply pick up that port. And you can see there's some frost for the condensation on the top because the heater's down in the bottom where these nipples are. But it's got this nice easy fill-up lid that you can easily access, and you can see, test the nipples. They're still working nice and well, even though there's a little frost up top. Now, it comes with, I think this is a 16-foot cord, so it's a pretty long cord. But if you're like me, even though my chicken coop is right next to the house, it's not 16 feet next to the house. So the manufacturer does not recommend to plug into an extension cord. However, you got to do what you got to do. And all I can say is, I can't give any specific electrical advice. However, what I can say is just to take every safety precaution possible. That's what we did here. So if you are going to plug into an extension cord, a few things to note is you want to make sure that your extension cord is plenty long enough. You don't want it super tight, at its max length, because then it's going to be putting a lot of stress on it, wearing it out, and potentially disconnecting. So you want to make sure, like ours, super loose. The other thing that we did is up there, so the connection point between the cord for the actual water and the extension cord is up high out of the way that the girls can't get to it, can't disconnect it, can't get shocked or anything like that. So up high out of the way, and then as you'll notice, you'll be like, whoa, what is that thing? So this is a all-weather connection port, so it's waterproof and weatherproof for where the connection meets, covers it up. It's made out of plastic, and there's some rubber in there to keep the cords in place. So it's made so that it can sit completely outside. But we have it underneath this covered run. Again, extra level of security underneath the covered run, and a pie, and in a plastic case to make sure that nothing at the connection is going to bother it. And the last thing, I probably should have mentioned it first, is your extension cord. So there are extension cords that are rated just for indoors, and there's extension cords that are rated for outdoors. So you want to make sure that whenever you're buying an extension cord, if it's going to be used outdoors to get to the chicken coop, you want to make sure that it's rated for outdoors, so that it is safe as possible and that it can handle all the different temperature changes and weather events on top of it. It's working really well. I really like it. I like the way that it's easy to fill up. I like that the girls are able to have access to it even when it's frozen. I don't need to do anything every day like I do for the big girls. And it makes sure that they have their water throughout the winter, which is super important. So whether you have electricity or don't have electricity, it's really important to get fresh water to your girls every day. And I hope that I've given you some tips and some insights on how to make that happen. And until next time, stay Pyrfect.